Hi everyone and welcome to a new tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to be making a very nice little shop GUI that can be used in any game and that can give you anything you want. Now this does require a bit of scripting knowledge, so please do not follow it if you don't know how to fix your own code. And with that being said, let's start. But before we start, I want to let you guys know that now I have Patreon, so if you guys want to support me or want to get all of my tutorial files, you can join the $10 tier for every single file in my tutorial channel. So you can get the simulator, the updated simulator, and basically everything. With that being said, let's start. So what we're going to be starting with is making some simple leader stats. So for that, you probably already have some leader stats in your script, but I'm just going to make a simple leader stats script. So that will require some simple things. So game get service. Also, I love this brand new Roblox update. The script editor is just much cleaner now. So you want to get players, and then you're going to have a function for when the player added, and that will take a player as an argument. And in here we're gonna do player added connect function, connect player added. After doing that, I'm just going to loop through every single player in the game for underscore comma player in next, and players get players do, and I'm just going to do player coroutine.wrap, and that will take the player added function and the player as an argument. So before you do this, let me explain what this does. So we have a basic function for when the player joins the game, and in here we are calling the function. But what if the player joins and what if something happens? So if that happens, then it will basically loop through every single player in the game when they are basically first player in the game, and call the player added function and give the player as an argument. Now, what is coroutine.wrap, you might ask? No. So you can use a coroutine for this kind of thing. So if I have a wait 5 seconds here and I call the player added function, we don't want to wait 5 seconds for each player, because this is basically just going to wait till this function is fully called, and after that it will go on to the next player. But we don't want that, so that's basically doing what a spawn function does. But I like using a coroutine because I think it's better. And yeah, that's basically it. So now some simple leader stats. So we're gonna just create a folder, and we're gonna rename the leader stats to leader stats. Make sure it's spelled properly, and we're gonna parent it to the player, and we're gonna create some coins. So local coins is equal to, and instance.new and string, or let's create a int value, and coins.value is equal to, and it will be basically just 0 or 500, and coins.name will be set to coins, obviously, and then coins.parent will be set to the leader stats. Now if you do this and play the game, you should have some simple leader stats going on right here. So as you can see, it does work. And now on to the module for this. So we're gonna have a module script right in server script service, and we're gonna rename this to shop_server. Now we will need some simple functions right here, and we're gonna rename this to shop module or local shop. So we're gonna rename this module to just a shop, and shop dot underscore underscore index is equal to shop, and that should be it. Now we're gonna do function, or I think this should be okay. So this is our our server-sided script. Now we will need our client-sided one. So for that, I'm going to create a module script inside of our GUI. So I'm going to create a module script and rename this to shop underscore client. Same thing, copy whatever is in this shop module script and paste it here. Now we're gonna start by actually making the shop GUI. So add a screen GUI to start GUI, rename it to shop, and we're gonna make sure that reset on spawn is unchecked, and we're gonna add a frame. So this frame will be basically our main frame, which will be placed right here, and we're gonna add a UI corner to it to make it look just a bit cleaner, or 0.05,0 for this. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good value. And I'm going to switch the frame size to offset, I mean scale. So we're gonna have every single offset value to 0 and the scale to 0.2 and this to 0.2, and that will basically keep it at scale. And now I'm going to add a text label. So it will basically just say shop. So this will be the title. Background transparency will be 1, obviously. And I'm going to be using this unit conversion plugin because it's pretty useful and can be used in a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to keep it right here. I don't want a window just for it, so I'm going to keep it right here. And I'm going to convert this to scale. So I just press size and convert it to scale. And now I'm going to change the text scale property to true and the text to say shop. Now I'm also going to want the font to be changed to a good little font, such as I think I'm going to go with Fredoka one. Yeah, that looks like a pretty clean font. Make sure that the background transparency is 1, so that it basically does not overlay the frame. And then I'm going to have a scrolling frame. Now this will basically contain all of our items. And I'm going to place it right here. And I think I'm going to rename it to container. And after doing that, I'm going to set the border size pixel to 0 and the convert to scale, the background transparency to 1, and the canvas size to a huge number, such as, it's not really huge, but it will basically make a big difference, such as 10, and the scroll bar thickness to 2. I'm going to have this color at white. Now we basically have a simple container, and we are going to want to make that look a bit better by changing the scroll bar image color to a color like this, a very simple color. And I'm going to add a text button to it. Now this will be our main template, but we want him to basically be like this. So if you clone it, we want it to offset. We want a little offset between each one. So we're gonna add a UI grid layout for that to the container frame. And now you can see that when you duplicate the button, it will basically create a copy and offset it. But that's not really what we want because it doesn't have good settings. So I'm going to firstly start by making the actual template for each item. And I'm going to set the text of this to nothing. And I'm going to have a viewport frame inside of this. Or not a viewport frame, an image label. I'm going to change the size of my image label to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. or 0.8, 0, 0.8, 0. And I'm also going to change its anchor point to 0.5, and I'm also going to change its position to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. And after doing that, we will basically have to rename this correctly. So I'm going to rename this to image, or let's rename it to item image. And I'm going to change the background transparency to 1, and that's it, I think, hopefully. Background color of this to maybe a grayish color. And I'm also going to want to have my image right now set to nothing, because this one is just useless. And also make sure you publish your game. I'm going to rename this to shop tutorial. And that should be it. Now I'm going to want to have the offset work correctly. So as you can see now, you can have a lot of templates that can fit. So select your UI grid layout, but here's a problem. If you go on phone, you see that they look really big and ugly. So we really want to fix that by just firstly setting the start corner to center. I'm pretty sure, oh no, I think it's yes, the horizontal alignment to center. And you're gonna want to set the cell size to whatever you want. I'm gonna go with a nice 0.1 or 0.2 by 0.005 or 0.1 3, nope, 0.02, 0.025. Gosh, this is annoying. That's pretty good. Now the cell padding, which is very simple. So you just wanna have to set the offset to 0.1 for this, or 0.02 for this. I mean 0.02. And for this, 0.002. And that should be good. So now we're gonna want a selection frame. So I'm just going to add a frame to this, convert it to scale, put it right here, make it very big, get the UI corner from the main frame, put it right here, and rename this frame to info. Now you're gonna want to change it, convert it to scale, obviously, and add an image label, put it right here, convert it to scale, make it bigger, and I think I'm just going to center it just like this. The name will be right there. And after doing that, I'm going to add I'm going to set the background transparency of my image label to 1, and the image to nothing. Or actually, I'm just going to keep this image for now and add a text label, which will display the name of our item that we are selecting right here, and background transparency to 1, and we're gonna rename this one to item name. After that, we will want some other stuff. So you might wanna have to change this to Fredoka one for the font, text scaled true, and the text to item or let's just have it at 0. And then I'm going to want something that will display the price. So this will be price. And after doing that, I'm going to want a button for buying the actual item. So just add a text button right here and make it smaller and put it wherever you want. So I'm just going to have it placed right here. And I'm going to add the UI corner to it. Change the background color to a nice green color. Change the size to a scale. and the text color to white, and I'm going to go with a text that will say bye, and the font will be obviously Redoka1. Now that looks pretty clean in my opinion. So with that being done, we are pretty much done with the UI. Obviously it looks pretty bad right now, but this is really up to you to change, so you're gonna have to change it how you really want, really. And I'm just going to find a nice center alignment, but to find that I'm going to change the anchor point to 0.5, 0.5, and the position to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. That will be putting it in the exact center. And yeah, I think that's good. Now I'm going to delete every single one of these templates except for one, and I'm going to select the actual template and rename it to template, put it inside of our shop client script. Now we're gonna want to have two values inside of this, so I mean, actually we don't really need one. Yeah, so put it inside of the shop client script. Make sure it's we don't have to mess around with the visible property right now. So I'm going to make my frame invisible and add the button that will be the button that will make it visible. So I'm just going to put a text button right here and make it as big as I want, something like this. Put it right here, and I'm going to set the text to shop, text scale to true, text color white, font to Redoka1. Now we want to have auto button color set to false so that we don't have that ugly effect. And I'm going to set the color of my button to a nice red. Okay, so I'm going to rename it to shop open. Now I'm going to add a very simple script to this that will just make the shop visible and invisible. So local frame is equal to script.parent.frame. Now I'm going to do script.parent.mouse button one click, mouse button one click, connect function. I don't know why it keeps on saying false, but connect function, and frame.visible equals not frame.visible. That should be working just fine. And if you go out and play the game, it opens and closes. Now obviously you're gonna have some nice twinniness stuff, but I'm not going to bother doing that for now. So we're gonna want to make this actually usable. So in our shop client script, or in replicated storage, we're gonna have a module script, and this will be renamed to shop configuration. So what is a shop configuration module? Well, we're just going to delete everything that's here and create a variable called local configuration, and you're going to set that to a table. Now you're just going to return the configuration. Now I'm going to drop a line inside of the table and create another table inside of it, and we're gonna have a dictionary table. So firstly, it will take the name of the item, so that will be the name of the item. So for now it will be just nil, and then it will take the price of the item, which will be for example 10. Now we are going to get some tools, some random tools that we'll find. So let's just get a also this is not converted to scale, I think. So I'm just going to get some random tools. A sword, why not? Don't press yes when that prompts up. And we will also need a so many tools really. So sword, I'm just going to get this one, remove it, every single script from it, because I really don't want a virus in my game. So let's just make sure you remove every single script. The classic sword doesn't have anything, but these are scripts that I hate. So just remove everything from your tool, except for the module and stuff. We don't need the fire, and we don't need the sparkles, and that's basically it. And we don't need never mind, we'll start with 2 swords, or let's get this one too. So let's get this one and remove every single script from it as always, and I'm just going to remove everything. That should be it. It shouldn't be a dangerous script. And inside of replicated storage, you want to have a folder called tools or shop items. Now you're going to want to drag every single item in your game, every single tool, to your shop items folder. And inside of our shop configuration, the first item will be the classic sword. You're going to want to put the name and give it a price. So with 10, copy this, make sure you put a semicolon right here, and the name of the other sword will be this name, and the price will be 20, and copy this again, paste it right here. Now we're gonna go for, obviously this is by the way in order, so make sure you do it in order, and this will be sword of something, and the price will jump up to 40. Now we have a configuration. So we're gonna firstly start with the shop client script. So local configuration is equal to, or let's start with local shop items is equal to let's firstly get replicated storage. Replicated storage, and then shop items is equal to replicated storage, wait for child shop items. Now local shop or local configuration is equal to replicated storage, wait for child shop configuration. After that, we will have some functions right here. So function shop dot new tool dot new template, function shop dot new template, and that will take the name, and in here we're gonna do function shop let's make sure that we spelled it correctly, select template, and then we're gonna need a function for shop on template click, buy. So we have all of this. Now we're gonna be using some object-oriented programming for this. That's why we have set up some functions. So that will just take the name of the tool, and we will create or let's actually take the configuration, and then we will create a variable for self. So local self is equal to set meta table, and that will take a table and the shop. Sorry if you don't understand what this means, but you should have a basic understanding of tables and meta tables. I forgot to mention that in the first part of the tutorial. And then we're gonna want to have some variables right here. So self dot price or dot item name is equal to configuration, or make sure you get this configuration. Let's rename this to item configuration. So item configuration dot name and self dot item or dot price is equal to item configuration dot item name. I think it was price. Let me recheck real quick. Yes, it was price. Let's close the other tabs and make sure you save each time. And then in here we're gonna just return self. And after that we will just yes, I think we're just gonna create the template. So local, let's have a variable right here for our template. So local template is equal to script wait for child template. Now we will just have some basic cloning. So local cloned template is equal to, and template clone, and then we're gonna do clone template dot parent is equal to container. I know we haven't set that up yet. So cloned template dot name is equal to self dot item name, and that's basically it. And we're gonna have a variable for our container. So local container, or let's create a variable for our shop frame, is equal to script.parent, wait for child. I think it was shop, wait for child frame, and then local container is equal to, and shop frame, wait for child container. After that we're gonna do local info is equal to shop frame, wait for child, and info. Now we're gonna have a variable for each thing. Rename this image label inside of the info frame to display image. By the way, I forgot to mention that inside of your shop configuration you're gonna need another thing called item image ID, and that will be basically the ID of the image. So the first one will just be a random image. So I'm just going to find the let's get a red glowing eye. I don't know why the right click isn't working. It's very weird. Oh, it's working now. Copy asset URL, and I'm going to paste it right here. Make sure you right click and press copy asset URL. Now copy this, paste it here. Make sure the comma is there, and the other one will be a Roblox logo, and it will be right here, and the other one will be a super happy face. Obviously these will be your images that you will upload, your shop icons. So after doing that we're gonna do self.image item image is equal to, so is equal to item configuration dot item image ID, and after doing that should be it. So now when they press the template, we want to call the by function. So that will be done through another local script to select the template. But before we do that, clone template dot I think it was, let's just go check the template. Item image dot image is equal to and self dot item image. After doing that, that's basically it. Now we're gonna want to add a local script, and in here we're gonna write local shop client is equal to require and script dot parent wait for child shop client. And after doing that, we will loop through yes, so require get the configuration from here. So just get it from here. We're gonna firstly get replicated storage, and then we're gonna get the configuration, because I really don't think we're gonna need it there. And for I, v in pairs configuration, do and shop client dot new template, and that will basically just take v. Now let's play the game and see if it works. I'm pretty sure this will get the okay. So in pairs configuration. Oh, that's basically because we haven't required the configuration. So require and then replicated storage, wait for child that, and then we're gonna do local new is equal to that. Now if we press the game, you can see that we have a template for each thing that you can press, but if you press it, nothing happens, and that kind of sucks. So we're gonna want to have to change that. So new dot mouse button one click, let's return self, and I'm pretty sure you cannot really return some other stuff. Wait, can you? So let's just print new. It returned a table. So I think we're gonna print new for underscore comma for I comma, or let's do for x comma c in pairs new do print x and print c. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so it printed a ton of stuff. Printed the price, this certain, which was the price, and then in here it printed item name. Okay, so that really doesn't work. So you really don't want to return both of those. And now we have a pretty big problem. So you can see how we returned self, and we really want to get the template. So we can call the mouse button one click mouse button one click function. Oh, let's think of this a little bit. Clone template the mouse button one click. Okay, let's try this. The mouse button one click, the mouse button one click on connect function, return cloned template. Now I'm just going to print new, and let's just try that out. Okay, that really doesn't work. Okay, so I think I found a fix for this. So now that was a pretty big problem, but I think I'll be back after finding a fix for this. Okay, so that was very unnecessary since it's been less than a minute, but I think I got it. So in our shop client thing, we'll remove this, and we will set self.template is equal to clone template. Now we're gonna do local. We're gonna do new dot template dot mouse button one click click connect function, and then we're gonna want to print pressed. Now if we go ahead and play the game, you should see that when we press it, it says pressed, which is really nice. So we got the template. Now we're gonna do new or local. I really don't know how to name my variables, but new colon select. And here is the magic of OOP. So select template. So we're gonna do new colon select template. Now if we go ahead and get the price, so local price is equal to self dot price, and local name is equal to self dot name, and local template is equal to self dot clone dot template. Now I spelled it wrong. Template, and local img is equal to, and self dot item image. Now if you go ahead and play the game, we can see that we can print the name, and you can see that this is a magic of OOP, so we can get the name via that. So this is the classic sword, this is the Azure sword, and this is the other sword. Let me check if I'm still recording. Yes. And after that, we can just create some more variables up here, which would be our display image, and it will be info dot display image, or let's create a wait for child for that. Colon wait for child display image, and local display name is equal to info colon wait for child and item name, and then local display price is equal to, and info colon wait for child, and then you just want to do price. That should be it. Now we're just going to do display image is equal to img, and dot image, and then display image display name dot text is equal to name, and display price dot text is equal to price. Now you can see that we have some very cool things happening. We can go ahead and, well, item name. Okay, so all I did is spell this wrong, so it's not item name, it's item name. Now if I go ahead and play the game, we should have some things going on. So as you can see, we can select stuff, which is very nice. Now we want the player to be able to buy stuff, which is also very simple by just getting the buy button. And actually, before we get that, we want to so we got the selecting thing, and okay, we're gonna hook up a little variable right here. So we're gonna rename this to currently selected, and that will be new, which is basically nothing. And after doing that, I'm gonna do some very simple stuff right here. Which will be currently selected is equal to template. Now change this to this variable up here. Change it to local temp instead of template, and so it doesn't overlap the other variable. And when we call the buy function, we want to check if the currently selected is not equal to new, then. And then we want to get the buy button, so I'm just going to get a basic variable for my... I'm just going to copy these variables up here. And then I'm going to do local buy btn is equal to info colon wait for child buy. Let's rename this to buy. So colon wait for child buy. Now we're gonna do buy. Okay, so this won't be a method. I think we're just going to have shop.buy, and in here we're gonna just do buy button dot mouse button one click. On connect function, and then we're just going to do shop client dot buy. Now you can see that we're gonna just print pressed. And now you can see that if we just clean up this output and press something, if we press it, we will say pressed. But if we aren't selecting anything, then that won't say anything. So that's really cool. I really like that. Now we will need to basically just fire a remote function. So inside of replicated storage, add a remote function. Rename it to buy. And in here we're gonna do replicated storage dot remote dot buy colon fire colon invoke client, and that will just get the currently selected. And local let's just send currently selected dot name, and local result is equal to that. And inside of our, I think we really don't need this shop server module, so I'm just going to go with the default local normal script, and I'm going to rename this to remote listener, or let's just rename it to shop server. And we're gonna get replicated storage, so local replicated storage is equal to game colon get service replicated storage, and then we're gonna do replicated storage dot buy dot on client dot on client invoke on server invoke is equal to function, and this will take the player and the item name. And then we're gonna require the configuration, so local config is equal to require replicated storage on the dot configuration. Now we will just have to basically loop through for local config item is equal to nil, and we're gonna loop through for item to prevent exposure, so we are not sending the item from the client. So for I comma v in next, and I'm going to get the config do, and we're gonna check if v the item name is equal to item name, then what we're gonna be doing is basically doing config item is equal to v, and then you just want to break this loop. So 3 to 1 break, and after doing that, we're gonna check if config item is not equal to no, then else we're gonna else return false. So that will basically return an error. And after doing that, we will want some pretty cool stuff. So we're gonna want to buy the item. So all you have to do is create a variable right here inside of here, and configuration dot currency is equal to coins. So you can change this currency whenever you want. And if not, okay, let's do if not player dot backpack confined first child item name, then we'll else we're gonna return false again. And in here we're gonna return we're gonna do if player dot leaderstats, and we're gonna do config dot currency dot value is greater or equal than config item dot price, then else we're gonna return false, obviously false. And after doing that, we will basically we're gonna have to return true. I'll explain what all of this weird stuff does. And after that, we will want to remove some currency from that. So player.leaderstat.config.price minus equal that. Now after doing that, we're gonna wanna clone. We're gonna do local cloned tool 1, or let's do for I is equal to from 1 to 2 do, and if I is equal to 1, then we're gonna do local cloned is equal to replicated storage dot shop items colon find first child item name colon clone, and cloned dot parent is equal to player dot backpack, else cloned local clone. We're gonna just copy this and set this parent to player dot starter gear, and then that should be really nice. So now we're gonna get some sound effects and add 2 sound effects inside of replicated storage. So add a sound. One of them will be error and one of them will be success. So the error sound will be the error sound ID. So change the sound ID. Sound ID, where's the ID thing? Sound ID, yes. To the error sound, and the success one to your success ID. So that should be it. Now inside of our shop client, I'm gonna do if if result is equal to true, then replicated storage dot error dot success play, and replicated storage dot error dot that's it. Else replicated storage dot error play, and after doing that, we will set we're gonna get the buy button, and we're gonna paste it right here. And I'm going to do buy button dot text is equal to equipped, and else I'm gonna just set the buy button dot text equal to buy. Now in here we're gonna check if player. Now we're gonna need to get the player. So local PLR is equal to game dot players dot local player, and if PLR, let me just close this. It's very annoying. If PLR dot backpack find first child and the name, then buy button dot text text is equal to buy equipped, else buy button dot text is equal to buy. Now we want to change these, so just copy this line of code right here, place it right here, and then place this one right here. Now currently selected dot name in here, and in here currently selected dot name. Now let's really hope that this will work, and I'm going to put on my headphones, and if I select this, now we have a random template right here, which I really don't know what it's for, but I think dot name is equal to self dot item name. That doesn't work, so configuration. Oh, I know. It's because of this thing. Remove this and go back to your shop server, and in here, instead of doing this, we're gonna just do coins. You can basically change this whenever you want. And now if you go ahead and play the game, we should have the templates we want. So if I go ahead and buy this, nothing happens. And unable to cast a value to, oh, can't invoke server, sorry. That was pretty stupid. So invoke server. Why am I using invoke client on the client? Okay, well that was weird. Let's try that again. Error. And it should not error. But for some reason it does error. So it's currently selected set to something. Okay, so we're gonna need some debugging right here. So I'll basically be back when this is fully fixed. If not, player come back. I can't find switch out that. Okay, so I'm just going to print can't find item config and try that again. Can't find item config. Okay, that's understandable. So for I, v in next, if v.item name, go back to the shop configuration. Okay, so it's v.name, not that. So now if you go ahead and play the game, should be working perfectly. Okay, so it says but, and it plays a nice sound, and it says equipped. Now if we press this, it says buy, but if we go here, it says equipped. And if we go back here, equipped. And we also want the, okay, so I just thought of a bug. So it will say buy, because we have, when you equip it, it gets out of your backpack and goes to your starter gear. So I mean goes to your character. So we're gonna change that right now by just doing if player dot starter gear instead of backpack, right here and right here, and that should be good. Can buy this, can buy this, and can buy this, and as you can see, they are all equipped. In fact, let's change that to owned instead of equipped. So owned, and that should be it. So I'm just going to save this, and please guys, I work a ton on these tutorials and they take really long, and I'm trying to bring the highest quality tutorials I can. So please make sure to subscribe if this helped, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial. Bye!